everybody. Happy you guys are here. A little nervous, so bear with me. My name is Carrie Freeman. I am a sales representative for Monrovia. I work with April. If you guys shop here, you definitely know her. Work with a lot of people out in the nursery. So let's talk about hydrangeas. I have a couple of giveaways, so answer questions if I have questions, if I ask you guys stuff, okay? So there's quite a variety of hydrangeas. I know you guys have seen that if you shop here, if you shop any other place, there's tons of varieties of hydrangeas, varieties of hydrangeas, and they just keep coming. So sometimes it's a lot of new breeding. We're learning what works well in hydrangeas. The breeders are just making plants newer, better, more compact, more vibrant, lots of different things. There are 4 or 5. There are mop head hydrangeas that everybody loves, right? The macrophyllus. That's these big leaves. That's the really big, pretty pink and blue flowers. White, they can be white. There are smooth hydrangeas. Arborescens is what they're called. That's this guy up here. They are typically white, new breeding. There are some red ones now. Paniculata, panicle. Those are those big cone-shaped ones that you see in trees out in full sun. Climbing hydrangeas, we talked about. There are oak leaf hydrangeas right here with the cool oak leaf. They kind of have a cone shape as well. And then I don't have one here, and I kind of lump it in with like the macrophyllus, but they're called serrata or mountain hydrangeas. Those are actually native to the North America. So are these smooth hydrangeas. So what do we want to talk about first? Does anybody know? Oh, I just told it myself. I was going to ask if you guys knew which ones did best in full sun, but I already gave it away. So those are these panicle varieties. So this one right here is called candy apple, a limelight hydrangea, a quick fire hydrangea, a bobo if you're familiar with any other types. They're mostly white, lime green, fade to pink. Those are a lot of the colors, but they are the most hardy, zone 3 hardy. So that's really good for us. Like I said, planted in the winter. They bloom on new wood. That's everybody's question. So that means they bloom on the new wood. So you prune those now, a couple weeks ago, late winter, early spring, and you're still going to get a ton of blooms for the year. So that's one nice thing about the panicle hydrangeas. Then these, let's talk about, well, let me talk a little bit more about it. I don't know what kind of questions you guys are going to have about them either. So, yes, totally interrupt me because, yeah, panicle, paniculata, yep. Okay. They do take a while. They are the latest blooming. They do bloom summer and into the fall. Yep. No. They do take a long time to bloom. Some of the earlier ones, there's a couple. Quick fire, that one will bloom sooner. Little quick fire is another cone-shaped one that will bloom, but it's still going to be July. There's another one, early evolution. This one's actually new. This is a Monrovia breeding. It's up here somewhere. This is a panicle. It already has buds on it. Obviously, this did not come from Michigan. This came from our Oregon location, so they're a couple of months ahead of us as far as product flushing. But it already has bloom, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with it since it's brand new. But it will be the first blooming panicle. But look for things like the quick fire, little quick fire would be another one. But yeah, they're typically summer and fall. Panicle hydrangeas, those are also what you would see in like the really nice dried hydrangeas. They give the really pretty fall color. And the parchment paper, they're easy to dry. Snip them off, hang them upside down, keep them dry, and then you have them. Well, yes, because her landscaper cuts them in the fall too. That's okay. If it's new wood, you can cut anything whenever you want it, hypothetically. But they recommend, late winter for those. Yeah. New wood is good. I always suggest transplanting in the fall, wouldn't you say? Yes. Because this time of year, all plants, and this kind of is a general rule of thumb, plants are focused on pushing out new growth. They're focused on, putting on a flower bud in the fall. They're not putting their energy there. They'll put their energy in the roots. So they're growing in the fall. That's why you transplant things in the fall, so it'll continue to grow until the ground freezes. So, yep. Plant it in the morning, water it really heavy. Don't expect it to look awesome the first year. Yeah, but planting for anything, hydrangeas, any plant, you can plant in the heat of the summer. You really can. You just have to water it constantly every day, not every other day, every day. Make sure your root ball, when you plant it, you take it out of the pot. Make sure it's, oops, not that. Make sure it's wet all the way down. That's another thing. So when you plant, give it a good, I don't know what kind you're getting. Hydrangeas, typically, they like rich, well-drained soil. They don't like the soil to be soggy. They like it to be moist. Give it some organic matter, some cow manure. Put that in the hole. Make sure your hole is at least double size of the pot. Mix it up really good. Am I missing anything? I don't know. Yes.
What about those husky animals that love to eat the hydrangea? I mean, I love hydrangeas.
Should have brought a deer spray. There's.
I think we tried that. Is there anything else?
This is the age-old question. I do not like to recommend or say anything is deer resistant. So the best thing I can say, and I don't know some of the chemicals that Farmer John's carries. You would be best off to ask one of the ladies up there. What kind of deer resistant spray. That's really.
It's really weird because I have two that are in front of my house that we planted 20 years ago in Egypt, and they are gorgeous.
Yeah.
They are tall. They are beautiful. And I can't get anything other than those to grow.
Yeah, I don't know why they choose the things that they choose. There's no rhyme. Sometimes they don't like fragrant stuff. Sometimes they do like fragrant stuff. Sometimes they don't like fuzzy leaves. It is, sometimes if there is nothing else available, even if it's spiky, they're still going to eat it. They're a nuisance. Yeah.
Yesterday's seminar mentioned they had some capsaicin granules, but they don't have any right now. They're supposed to get them next week, but that they put them in the ground and they grow into the plant.
Oh.
So when the deer taste them,
They don't like the taste.
Like it. So yeah,
Okay, good. Yeah, see, I don't know a lot of that kind of stuff that they carry. Yeah. Well, no, it works. Yeah. Yeah. He knows what he's talking about. Yes. Yeah, that happens often. So first you have to check, is it new wood or old wood? Do you know? Do you know which kind they might be? Okay. Okay, well, that's okay. So again, it is hard to tell. I don't even know if there's any tips or tricks to tell if you have an old wood or new wood mott pit hydrangea. If it's older, it's typically, I would say unless summer's been out for a long time. But if it's if it's been in your yard 10 plus years, it's probably going to be old wood. So you're going to want to cut that after it blooms at the end of the season. If you're cutting it now, you're not going to get blooms. Okay, so the other problem, a lot of times when hydrangeas don't bloom, your soil might be too rich in nitrogen, so it's focusing on putting everything in the leaves. I would give it a good shot, and again, I didn't bring any fertilizer in here. I wrote down so a 10-10-10 or a 12-4-8, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. I didn't really have a lot of time. I grabbed the color stuff. Give it a good shot now, and then again in the summer. But that is a lot of the times if they don't bloom, that's what it is, because the nitrogen just helps to green everything and make it super lush. I know. Is it what kind of? So everybody thinks hydrangeas love shade. They do love shade. They like filtered sun. They like morning sun. If they're in heavy, heavy shade, they don't really like to bloom. It's not in heavy shade. I know. I know. Yeah. I don't know. Again, is it older? It's hard to pick everybody's yards out, but those are some general. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, typically if it's not blooming, it's either you pruned it at the wrong time, you have too much nitrogen in your soil, there might have been a late frost. We don't have that problem this year because it hasn't warmed up at all. So last year we did have that problem. A lot of hydrangeas got nipped last year because we got that like in like Mother's Day weekend, or like my husband's birthday is on the 14th of May. So if you get that late, if everything's growing and you get that really late hard frost, like high 20s, it will kill buds. So that could have happened, but you say it never blooms? Yeah. Yeah. And if it's blooming around there, it's hard. Mop heads are hard. Are you covering it in the winter? Okay, that's another thing we can do. They do like, since these big pretty ones that everybody thinks hydrangeas, they do like to be covered, mulched. My mom likes to, she wraps them with a fence and she just piles chopped up leaves all the way to the top. Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
This is what I would use to turn them blue.
Oh, God. And I grabbed that one. Thanks. Well, I grabbed the lime. Okay. Thank you, April. If you don't want to cover them all, but maybe try that. Maybe they're getting too cold throughout the entire winter. You guys, I live on the west side of the state, so I get a lot of snow and a lot of heavy insulation from the snow. So that always helps mine. And then, but like I said, so cover it with an organic mulch. So leaves, straw. Some people can wrap them with burlap. I don't necessarily like that look in my yard, but some people say it helps protect from deer, helps, a plant like an arborvitae too, from windburn. But you would just wrap it with a burlap and like a loose twine. But definitely mulch with straw, leaves. Those are the two that I recommend. After the ground freezes, well, top dress it first, maybe with some of the, organic matter, a little bit of soil amendment. Top dress it, ground freezes, cover it 6 to 8 inches with mulch, and that will help protect the roots. That you should be doing. You don't necessarily need to cover it unless you're not getting bloom, so you can try that, but because they are just marginally these big. That's why these always bloom, because they're so much hardier. So that's a good winter care. Let's see. I did say, so yeah, full sun for the cone-shaped ones, part sun, part shade for these big macrophyllus. Morning sun's the best. Here, yeah, it gets hot and humid in the summer, but it's not like it's Georgia, and it's hot and humid all the time. So they really can handle more afternoon sun as well. Just make sure you're watering it. If it's getting scorched, water it in the morning, water it twice a day. If you don't mind a little bit of wilt, they're going to come back the next day. These smooth hydrangeas, these arborescents, I do love these. These bloom on new wood. Like I said, they're mostly white, kind of airy-like. They're round. They have some pink ones. They bloom in full sun. Mine are in full sun, or they bloom in heavy shade. This is the best blooming one for heavy shade that I found, more so than these oak leaves. You could cut them now. Again, well-drained soil. These you don't need to fertilize as much. I never fertilize mine. They bloom every year. Yes. These are arborescents or smooth, so like an Annabelle, or if you've seen marketing for Incredible, Mini Mauve Vet, those are smooth hydrangeas. I guess it's probably named after the leaf. Oak leaf hydrangeas. These are really nice for shade, so they bloom in the shade. They also have kind of like the cone shaped, and they give the cool oak leaf flower, or leaf, I mean. These you really don't need to prune that much. They do flower on old wood, so definitely don't cut it now if you have one. You can Like I said, they don't like to be pruned a lot, but you can prune out some of the old dead stuff, and that will just help it. That's a good tip for like the climbing hydrangea too. Actually, any hydrangea. If there's a stalk, these die back to the ground. So if there's a stalk when it's coming up, and you see all of them right now, and it doesn't have any green on it, not quite yet. Give it a little bit. Just prune it all the way to the ground. Prune out those old dead stalks. Let that air circulate in there. It's what we were talking about, the climbing hydrangeas before. Yeah, she's not having luck. I don't know. I did check when I went back out, and a hard prune. I don't grow climbing hydrangeas so I don't really have any good tips for those. Do you have any good tips? A climbing hydrangea that's not blooming. That's old wood, so you have to make sure you're not pruning it now. Yeah. Oh, like you've already pruned it this year? Yeah. Oh, the runners. Oh, up the vine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they will handle more sun. So maybe it's in too much shade. Yeah. This one. Yep. Yeah, this one and this one. Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah, now. Yeah, after the 28 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, that is this oak leaf. Quartzifolia. Yep, sorry. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it like you're supposed to.
Yeah. And then, so this year, it's all just maybe about a foot and a half of just sticks.
Okay.
But at the very base, there's like 4 leaves.
Yeah.
So is that doing what it's supposed to, or?
Yes, I would give it time. It should still poke out from some of the stems. Oh. It's really early, guys. So if you're not seeing movement on your plants, it's okay. It's been really cold. Yeah. I know, just because it's 70 today and 80 today. A lot of things. Butterfly bush, Carrie, a lot of things. Just give it a little bit of time. Let's see. What else again? Oh, the serratas. Like I said, I don't have one, but those are, I know. Serrata is a mountain hydrangea, so those are some native ones, but I don't have them here. But the leaves are a little bit more serrated, so like tiny tough stuff, Cape May, and they have a lace cap leaf. Those are also nice and hardy. Don't have as much dieback. I keep one in a pot, and I literally do nothing with it, and it blooms every year, and I, again, do nothing with it. I barely water it. So they're super hardy. I can attest to that. I know a lot of this new breeding. Here's a couple varieties here. These cool black stems. You see how these stems are thicker, so they're not going to flop as much when you buy a newer thing. Sometimes it's hard. You get stuck on like an endless summer, right? Because the name, it's been around for a long time, but it can get kind of floppy. Some of this new stuff has been bred with floral hydrangeas that you see in floral arrangements. They're not, those type of, big pretty flowers are not hardy here, but they're doing breeding with them so they can get these big, thick stems. That's what I was going to tell the gentleman that was asking me about a compact. So see how you can just see how thick this stem is, and it's not going to flop even, and it's got these buds on it. So it's going to get a big pretty, and it's not going to flop at all. Let's see. Do you guys know where to prune? No? Okay. There were clippers here. There's clippers in my bag. Bigger? I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I have some in my backpack, and I didn't grab them. So when you are pruning, a good rule of thumb is to prune back 1/3 of the way. If you like the size that they are. Me, I like to whack my plants. Like, I will whack anything. Plants are really forgiving. But a good rule of thumb is, like I said, at the end of the year, if this is how big the plant is and it's old wood and you want to prune it back, so just prune it back 1/3 of the way, right? And so then the new growth will push. You are going to want to, which one do I want to prune? We'll prune one of these guys. Whenever you are pruning anything, you want to, all of these nodes, I don't know if you can see them where all the leaves are coming out. Don't prune underneath it because then you're going to get this big, ugly stick. You prune just above it, above the node, slight angle. And so that way the new growth is going to push out from underneath it. You guys can look at it. Always do a slight angle. You can come ask me questions later if you want. Let's see. What other notes do I have? A snow cone tree. Oh, yeah. So a hydrangea tree. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. I haven't cut mine yet, but yes. Any time late March to now. Even if it has started, because mine has got a little bit of leaves on it right now, it's still okay to prune. Yep. Yep. Late March. Well, it depends what color you want. So that's a good question. I would have gotten there. If the flower is white, there's no changing it. It's going to be white. If they're pink or blue, purple, you can change. More acidic soil. Is that 6? Is acidic? No, acidic is 5, right? Yes. And that's when your soil is acidic. Do you guys even sell soil tests here? Or do you have to call them? Okay. So if your soil is acidic, your plant's going to be blue. And if you want it to be blue, that's when you would add it. You would add it now, right? In a couple of weeks. I say now. In the planting season, in the early spring, when you're transplanting, you can, because you're not going to know what type your soil is. You don't even know what kind of flower it is. So we'll not talk about that one. When you're planting, if you feel like your soil's a little alkaline or a little acidic, you could add, to change. She brought me this one, even though I already grabbed the holly tone to change, and the lime, and the myricide. So add aluminum sulfate to your soil. That's what's going to make it blue. Add regular lime if you want it to be pink. But acidic soil is 5 to 5.5, right? And the alkaline's the 6, like 5.5 and below. Yeah. So acidic soil is, yeah. And acidic is blue. Alkaline is the pink. Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I like the aluminum sulfate is because aluminum is what actually makes the flower blue, and they just can't access that aluminum at higher pHs. So you're not only adding what makes the blue, but you're also minus.
Yeah. Did you guys all hear that?
I do hollytone on mine in the spring as a general fertilizer, but I usually have to add aluminum sulfate a couple times a year.
Yeah. And it's not going to turn right away. If they're coming out pink, it'll take a month or 2. You might not even get it that season. So just be patient with that and keep adding it. Hang on. For pink and the hollytone. Did you tell me hollytone was pink? I just brought regular lime to turn it pink. Yeah.
Because lime will alkaline.
Yeah, lime will make, like your tomatoes and stuff, yes. Yes, right? Yes, yeah, because this is for the, yeah.
That is not a fertilizer.
Yes.
Aluminum sulfate nor the lime is a fertilizer.
Yes.
That just is influencing the acidity.
Yep. Let's see. What else?
I'm using hollytone right now.
Okay.
But if I want them pinker, then I add more garlic.
Yes.
Or the aluminum sulfate.
I mean, if they're already pink and blue, they're not white. Okay, yeah. Yep. Most people like blue hydrangeas, so that's good. There's a couple, like I said, I do work for Monrovia, so I will talk about a couple Monrovia plants. Some of these that are different. You see that picture. So you're not going to turn this blue. It's going to be this white and pink no matter what. But like this is one called Blue Enchantress, but it can be pink. So typically if it's a different kind of flower, I don't know what other kind of rules of thumb there are, then it's not going to turn. You might have to read a tag, if you don't want, to know the for real answer or ask the for real answer, the correct answer. Farmer John's has got a great staff here. They're very knowledgeable. A lot of them have worked here for a lot of years, so they do really know their stuff. Let's see. We talked about watering. We talked about mulching in the winter. I don't know. I had all these plants. I don't even have any questions for you guys. Or eggshells or anything. Yeah. I mean, that's, again, good organic matter. You can put that in any flower bed. Yeah. I water my plants with if I have a little bit of coffee left, I fill my coffee pot up and then I water them. So I'm not saying it's what you need to do, but yes, yeah. And that's just good for any garden bed. So, yep. Yeah, right? No, I dilute it if it's left. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. It might be the coffee. Everybody likes coffee. I mean, I get it. Yeah. 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 Let's see. Did we talk enough about covering them in the winter and mulching them in the winter? If you have these and they're not blooming, yes. Like these oak leaf are more hardy. These are more hardy. It's pretty much the big ones. These smooth hydrangeas, those I wouldn't say are a necessity. If you have one in a container, like I said, I have my one in my container, and it is a serrata, so it is a little more hardy. It's native to North America. But if you tried to put one of these big mob head ones in a hydrangea, then that one, the roots are not in the ground. They're not insulated, so I would move it inside, honestly. Or I would, if it's in a container. Yeah, so. Yeah, like anything, like anything, they will get root bound, but I'm saying yeah. We talked about planting, digging your hole bigger, adding organic matter. I didn't bring any of that in here, but they've got all sorts of soil amendments, manure, water heavily, especially the first year. That is one key thing. And water in the morning. Don't water on top. Don't spray on the leaves, all over the leaves. When you're watering, water the soil, water underneath the plant. Personally, the spray is better than just a stream of water. Soaker hoses always work really well. Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, it's hard because it is hard to pick. Do you have any tips for if it's already established in your yard, if it's new or old? I don't, yeah, it's really hard to tell. Yes, yes, yeah. Yes. Yes, yeah. It is hard because I lived in Georgia for a little while. Hydrangeas they don't do great actually there, but we're so cold for so long, it just kind of sometimes takes things longer. I know we see all these big, beautiful pictures, but it just takes things longer to grow and get warm. But yeah. So, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah. So, like we said, if they've been there for a long time, not within the last couple of years. Assume it's old growth until you know for sure. So that means pruning after it flowers in the season, at the end of the summer. It kind of stinks because they could still look nice with the foliage, but if you want to make sure you have blooms, you can't cut it in the spring if you don't know what kind it is. So that is just kind of a growing pain. So treat it like it's old wood. So prune it after it blooms. It is always good to prune out the dead. If nothing is coming up, if it is an old stalk, always prune that out all the way to the bottom. Clean that out, let it circulate. What else did you ask? Yeah. Do you?
So if you have a bloom this year
Uh-huh.
on something that was from last year, you know we've got,
Yeah.
but you say at the end of the season,
Mm-hmm.
growing at the end of the summer, then you want to cut that back to where the
Yes, right above the node. Like I said, about 1/3 of the plant. That's kind of just a general rule of thumb. If you want it to be smaller, you can make it smaller. But that's, general rule of thumb. But if you only cut back, maybe I should make that clear. If you only cut back just the blooms, like say it only has 5 blooms, you're only cutting back just the blooms, then you will get wonky leaves. So make sure you're making it a nice, you're cutting everything. You're not just cutting here and there. But definitely if you're cutting out old, make sure they, and they don't have anything, cut those all the way down. Okay? Yeah. What was that? Sorry, he's loud. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's too late. I know, I'm sorry. I know, see, hydrangeas are, I told April, I was like, I'm going to get the most finicky thing, and they're so controversial. That's what I'm saying. You're going to want to cut it when it still has time to grow. So this is called a bud set. So cut it when it's still green, so it still has time to produce. Because like I said, it will come out from here, and so it will still have time to put new growth on and set buds. You can't cut it after it's already, gone through a hard frost because it won't grow anymore. Yeah, I know. I mean, it stinks because then you do have cut plants in your landscape in August. So at the end of August or early September. So it's not great. I'm not saying it's good, but yeah. What else? Let's see. What else do I have up here? Well, it's not new. It's not new. They're smooth hydrangeas. They're called arborescens. Annabelle. Have you ever heard of an Annabelle? Yeah. So these are just really great because they're hardy. They bloom in the sun. They bloom in the shade. They're the best. I would say they're the best blooming shade hydrangea. But you're only going to have them in white or like a muted pink. They're a ball. Yes, they are a ball. Yep. Annabelle, Incredible, Invincible Spirit, Mini Mauvette. There's a lot of them now, but there's only pink and red, right? I don't think they've done any blues, yeah. And it's not the really pretty floral flower. They're a little more airy. I mean, I love mine. I have 3 in the front of my bay window. It's not a bay window, in front of my window, and super prolific. Just blooms all over. So if you had a darker color home, yeah, they would look really nice. You never have a problem with. Have never had a problem with a smooth blooming or panicles blooming, even a serrata blooming. I've never had a problem with any of those types blooming. So, let's see. Anything else? You're welcome. Thank you guys for bearing with me.